Okay, these rails going up the front walkway are not part of the structure, so they're beyond the scope of this inspection, but I'm still here to mention that the ends, still mean to say that the ends are open, so clothing could get trapped on that and cause people to maybe lose their balance. The water is located, you have 2 meters for 2 structures, one structure for 2 halves of the duplex. It's assumed that this meter orientated to the west is for the unit that is on the west. That's what it's assumed. Coming in here, we have our dial, and there's a smaller dial right in here. There's a little red triangle. It's called a flow indicator, or a cheater wheel, or a cheater paddle, or call it what you will. But if fresh potable water is moving towards the house, coming into the house, meaning something's on, sink is on, dishwasher is on, commode flapper, I don't know. But if there's any reason for water to move, for fresh water to be delivered, that little triangle will move. If your bill's high, come look at that little triangle. That's what the water company will do, because that's why we call it a cheater wheel. Anyway, it's very sensitive. It's very sensitive. It doesn't take much at all for it to move. So this tells us that, as of today, at this inspection, it doesn't look like we've got a freshwater leak. That's not a drain water indicator. Will that close? Nope, that's why I found it open. Okay. Come on. There we go. It gets past me eventually. Let's set this here so hopefully I won't forget it. It happens. Moving up to the front of the house. This is a main sewer clean out. I'd like to see double, but one's better than none. One's better than none. This is the water, pressure to the house. It looks like it's the water right there. What's that about? Let's see what we got. I just said it didn't look like it had a leak, right? Well, might not look like it's got a leak, but the front faucet's got a little leak on it. We're looking for between 40 and 80 psi, pounds per square inch. We got 60, that's about ideal. This is not unusual, but the valve stem's leaking a little bit. So the method. Front faucet leaks, front faucet valve stem leaks, 60 psi. So that's what we got. That's what we got today. Now, what I'm not noticing, besides a double clean out, is I'm not noticing a main shutoff valve for the water. I'm not. Where's the main water shutoff valve? And then we have a drain line here. Is this a drain line? If that's for the water heater, and we don't know that yet, but it looks like it. If that's for the water heater, it's supposed to be at least 3 inches off of the ground. Less than 6, but more than 3 inches. Something to take into consideration. These windows are double pane vinyl frame. I haven't seen any window screens. Okay, these are weirs, weep weirs, and they're supposed to have little weird traps inside of them. It's all designed to shed water faster than it accepts it. Even the wall system, these are weep holes, because brick is porous. And so, all roofs leak, home ownership 101. All walls leak, home ownership 101. We design these structures so they shed water faster than they accept it. So that's why we have the weep holes, and that's why we have the weep weirs inside the windows. But when they're open like that, and they don't have the little flaps, the little traps inside of them, it can whistle. If the wind's blowing right, I've heard it. I've heard it once. I haven't heard it often. But without those little $2 parts, your house can play like a flute. These are soffit vents. Soffit vents We talked about other venting. Yeah, we talked about other venting in an earlier video. Gradient drainage around here is quite level. What we have here is wood mulch underneath the drip line. Structural Pest Control Services considers that conducive to wood destroying insects. They do. So I'm going to write it up. Do I have wood mulch too close to my house? You bet. I do. My house isn't for sale. Lawn sprinkler heads should not be closer to the structure than 12 inches. Put this over here. That way I'll forget it all. When I come back to look for it, I find it all easier. The slab foundation. This is rebar. The construction bar. It shouldn't be exposed like that. When it rusts, it swells, and it'll cause your cement to crack. This is called a shrinkage crack. Some people call them corner pops. Call it what you will, but you're always going to have them on a slab foundation. Simply put, the cement is always drying. The brick is always growing. You'll never be able to measure how much your slab shrinks. You'll never be able to measure how much your bricks grow. It's the only part of your house that actually does grow. So, but they also have different thermal properties. So see this black right in here? That's a black poly they wrap around the perimeter. And that's the way we do it in Texas. We use a black poly. There's other places they use maybe some better stuff, but that's what we use. And it never goes to the corners. The brick is expanding, contracting at different levels, rates. The foundation is expanding and contracting at different rates. The brick is constantly growing, expanding, if you will. Cement is constantly drying and shrinking, and the pressure shows up at these. This is not a foundation problem. This is not a foundation problem. Okay, it might be a brick problem. You might want to correct it. There's obviously somebody had. That's good. It's holding your bricks. But those little cracks right on the corners are not brick problems, or not foundation problems. We're not through looking at this house. It might have some. We don't know. We don't know yet. If I can get in here, it's kind of nice. Got that? All right. Got GFCI, in-use cover. Those are nice. Those are nice. A tree shouldn't be closer to the structure than 25 feet. To allow for root growth. That could cause you some foundation problems. And of course the branches and other problems associated with having a tree too close to the structure. Wood mulch, too close. Bushes on the walls. Bushes on the walls. Still no weeps. Coming along. How's this doorbell look? It doesn't look like it's illuminated. Okay. Let's try this one. Let's try this one. There we go. No power? Because I tripped it. Coming along. This is the water filtration system for the house. And again, this is beyond the scope of this inspection. One good thing about this is this introduces a expansion tank to the water system. So that's okay. Bonus. Look, a bonus. Let's see if we still got. Let's see if we got any power yet. Nope. We'll have to find that GFI. But see the way this wood's built in into the ground? This is all, and then of course this is a water system. So this is a high probability area for termites. Just saying. And I guess water filters are good. A lot of people like them. It might even be a softener. It's an ice spring watering systems filter. Okay. This flagstone laid out like this. That's the way I have it in my house. But this is not dimensionally uniform. So if Granny comes to visit you, you might want to take her by the arm and escort her around, planter boxes next to the house. That's conducive by design. Now this looks like a water heater. That might be an air conditioning drain at the front. That might be an air conditioning drain. This is looks like a water heater. And remember, and the safety pan and water heater. I mean, that's what it looks like. We'll find out better. But remember when I was talking about it not supposed to be farther than 6 inches from the ground? It's obviously farther than 6 inches from the ground. This is what's known as a near miss. This is the secondary drain line for the air conditioning system. And they're supposed to, terminate. They're supposed to drain in an obvious location, like above a window. So it's just past the window. Just past the window. So this is a near miss. You'll probably still see it. I don't know. Grading and drainage is quite level along this way, especially thanks to the planter box. Coming along, this is our condensing unit for the air conditioning system. It's a 3-ton system. It's about 8 years old. They last about 14. They're engineered on paper to last 20. They might last 35, but it's about 8 years old, by the way, and it has the good refrigerant. It does. It's got the R22. Excuse me, no it doesn't. It's got the R410. It's got the good stuff, not the obsolete stuff. Now, what year was this installed? We can look at the data plate. We can know that. 2013. Okay, it's just a little before its time. And what I mean by that is if it would have been 2015, that wasn't, then this foam would no longer be acceptable. This foam is nice and soft. See that? It tears, it breaks. It'd be a more solid foam. And then this is the electric service disconnect, and it should be sealed on 3 sides, the top and the sides. It's good that it's over on the side. We got an electric receptacle, a service receptacle over here. There we go. I might be resetting this. There we go. Let's see what else we can find. I've already tested this. Well, I'll do it. Why not? I got you with me. I'm a ham. Again, if this is a water heater, what are all these valves? And that's higher than 6 inches. It's higher than 6 inches. Planter boxes, conducive to wood destroying insects. I brought you. See how these shingles overlap, they overhang, excuse me. That's just a little too much. It's pretty obvious from the top. I knew I was going to come around here when I was doing the roof video. It's just a little too much. I have a technical bulletin for that, so. What does it mean in the grand scheme of things? I don't know. I have a technical bulletin. Casement metal overhead door, another planter box. The meter should be sealed on 3 sides, both the sides and the top. We obviously only have a single ground unless I can find something. And again, when this home was built, single ground was acceptable since about 2015 or so. Now they've been requiring 2 grounds. That's a safety issue. And speaking of safety issues, this you might want to have a line audit. Come in because we have 1 service drop that comes in, and it splits and it feeds 2 masts, 2 electric supply conduits with service heads, and you can see the size of the cable coming out of the service heads is almost twice as large as the service drop. And the service drop is feeding 2 of those. So you may have some dimming of your lights. And what it means to the actual structure, well, it might raise your bills a little bit. It might. You might have some dimming lights, some nuisance. But if it burns and falls, it's going to fall in the alley. So there's that. I'm sorry I put so much on this, but it's just a small house. And you can see the results right here of the overhang from the shingles. You see how the first course, it's always the first course, second, third, fourth, all the way to the last course. So the first course right there, you see how it's curling under? It's going to start breaking off and looking ugly. It is. That's what it'll do.